about skeeters now. The Minnesota unofficial state bird, essentially. Important every year because it's not just that they're a nuisance, they are disease carriers as well. And West Nile virus has now been detected in 3 counties, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, and Dakota County. So that is one more reason to be careful about making sure that you don't, encourage a giant mosquito hatch in your yard. So joining us now is Jordan Mandli, vector ecologist with the Metropolitan Mosquito Control District, and appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is what's interesting. I mean, how much of the hatch are we seeing at this point? I haven't really noticed that many mosquitoes yet in the metro area, and we're at the end of June now. I mean, certainly we've been through a lot of hatch cycles at this point.
This has actually been a really unusual year. We've gotten, a lot of instances where it's rained, but it hasn't rained enough to really get the mosquitoes going.
That's rained a lot more recently.
Yeah, recently, for sure. Recently, we've had over 1 inch of rain within 24 hours, and that's really where our concern lies. Kind of one of the major concerns when we think about these mosquitoes is that they can hatch in a variety of different habitats. Mm-hmm. So predominantly we think about like wetlands, that's where we would think mosquitoes are located, but we actually can find mosquitoes in urban areas, including our stormwater system and even around our house.
Yeah, and that's something. So I've been out with mosquito control in years past where, I've seen the helicopters, been out with them in the marshes where they're using the hand spreaders to throw out things earlier in the year, or maybe even in late winter, But what's interesting is, so you attack all those areas to make sure that the giant breeding areas are covered.
Yeah.
But we always talk about your yard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure people are like, oh, really? Like my bird feeder or my gardening bucket is going to hatch mosquitoes?
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden locations that you might find around your house. A mosquito can breed in water that's as small as what you would expect of like a liter bottle cap. So
a bottle cap.
A bottle cap in terms of water, yeah. And when it comes to trying to identify water sources around your home, it can be really challenging. But by eliminating the big things such as your bird bath, your water barrel or your rain barrel, or even like water that might be in your boat or your kayak, those are all things that are really important to remove.
Puddles, essentially, that just get caught there. Like, say, I have an old, a bucket that was in my, in my backyard or kind of under the stairs of the deck that I use for stuff, and I saw a little bit of water in that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to tip that upside down.
Yeah.
Because say if a mosquito decides to go in and lay eggs in just that, whether it's the bottle cap or something a little bigger.
Yeah.
How many eggs can they lay in that tiny little area?
Yeah, so the eggs are pretty small. They're not. They're you can see them within your eye. They're about the size of about a grain of rice. They can lay a couple hundred in a given area. Obviously, if the water is smaller, less mosquitoes are going to actually be successful.
Sure.
But they still are enough to get to that adult stage where they can produce more.
But say a tiny little thing in a bottle cap or a lid or whatever. How big of a mosquito hatch could come out of that one little thing? I mean, you're talking hundreds and hundreds, right?
I would say that with a bottle cap, you're probably looking at somewhere around maybe 50 from that individual water source.
From a bucket?
From a bucket, if it's a single mosquito, they can lay a couple hundred of eggs within a single bucket.
And then how quickly until they hatch?
Right now, because things start to get warmer, we expect about a week for a mosquito to go from egg to being an adult. So it's really important to keep kind of making sure that that water is removed.
Well, yeah, because I mean, other mosquitoes just keep coming back, and that just
Absolutely.
Can become a constant. Just even a bucket could be a mosquito factory, just week after week after week.
Yeah, a single mosquito, if it's allowed to lay its eggs, then its eggs are allowed to grow up to adults. You're probably looking at somewhere a single mosquito can make I'd say about 200,000 mosquitoes from a single mosquito at the beginning of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's ideal circumstances for those mosquitoes.
I mean, theoretically possible or scientifically possible.
Yep.
Okay, so let's turn to the discovery of West Nile.
Yeah.
And so in 3 counties, these discoveries made rather recently.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. In the last 2 weeks, we've detected it within mosquitoes in these areas. Yeah.
How is it detected?
So we use some pathogen testing. So we collect these mosquitoes using our variety of traps. We bring them back to our laboratory. We identify them, and then we run them through some pathogen detection work. Yeah.
How? I guess I haven't looked at the history of this. I mean, in terms of year over year over year, is it common to find West Nile every year somewhere?
Yeah, so it would be uncommon for us to not find West Nile virus. Yeah. West Nile virus, it's found pretty much throughout the entire 7-county metro area, likely in the areas adjacent to the metro area as well.
Okay.
We've detected it pretty much every year since it arrived in the early 2000s. Last year was a particularly bad year for West Nile virus. It was actually the highest recorded cases, human cases, but also for us in terms of mosquitoes being infected with it, was the highest we've ever documented as an organization.
Okay. And so what steps do you take once you detect it in the mosquito population?
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's a couple different steps that we do. First and foremost, kind of where we center a lot of our control is about eliminating that larval habitat or that breeding habitat, so the water. We'll either try to eliminate it or we'll treat it with what we call pesticide products that target specifically the mosquitoes in those areas. If that doesn't work, then we start incorporating what we consider kind of the traditional adult targeted pesticides.
Okay.
So you might see our vehicles out fogging individual areas. Very rarely do we do that, which is a good thing.
Okay. And you know, people hear, well, this is now an annual thing. We always find it every year. Is it a big deal? Well, it is a big deal because it can be it can get you pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year we recorded 50 cases here in just the 7-county metro area. About half of those cases were hospitalized due to neurological symptoms. And then I believe it was 4 individuals actually passed away due to West Nile virus.
Just last year?
Just last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as we look, that's one of the diseases that's, as you continue to fight mosquitoes, mosquito control, is there any kind of outlook about trying to get that even smaller and smaller every year? I mean, or does it feel like you're just kind of fighting an uphill battle to keep it from getting worse every year?
Yeah, I think it's maybe a blessing and a curse that here in the metropolitan area we have these really robust refuges, these areas that are land managed by either Three Rivers, the DNR, or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And we're not allowed to treat in those areas because we want to make sure that we're protecting those habitats. So every year, some of the mosquitoes from there will mingle with some of the mosquitoes that we're able to actually treat.
Okay.
So it's not that we can't minimize the numbers, it's just that the right conditions will just make it possible for those mosquitoes to come back in higher numbers.
Okay. And then one last thing, and we got to go to break, but in addition to collecting all the stagnant water, the other advice you have, I know when I sit out on the deck and it's mosquito season, I have a floor fan that I put on just to put a breeze because they're tiny, it makes it harder for them to fly around. I mean, stuff like that. Anything else?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things that you can do. The fan is a great technique. We usually tell people go for repellents. So there are EPA registered repellents. So if you look on the side of a can, there'll be a registration number. And if you use those are products that we know that are safe and that will work or that are effective for extended periods of time. Other than that, there are some commercial products out there that you can purchase. I would stay away from those citronella candles.
Yeah, that's what he's asked. Is there anything that's proven not to work or not to work as well? And
yes.
That's one?
Yeah, so citronella candles, the coils, the problem is they don't release enough of the repellent in a given area. It can easily get blown away if the weather is not right. There are some products that kind of vaporize a chemical in a given area. I believe Thermocell has a product that
I've used those, and they have worked well.
Yep, so those help keep mosquitoes away. Or, I know it's hot out, but if you can help it, wearing long sleeves does a great job of restricting those bites.
Yeah, it would, but also, not to do it. All right, hey, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Talking mosquitoes, because I know it's going to be, especially with this weather lately, we're going to be seeing them.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, thanks so much.